Why I forgave my biggest enemy. The summer of 1992 hung over Willow Creek, Tennessee, like a warm, heavy quilt. Honeysuckle sweetened the air, and the creek murmured secrets to anyone who'd listen. I was 24, living in a small clapboard house on the town's edge, its porch creaking under the weight of my evenings. By day, I taught second graders at Willow Elementary. By night, I lost myself in books or the burn of bourbon. Life was quiet, simple, but beneath it all, a wound festered, one tied to a name that still tightened my jaw: Caleb Reed. Caleb had been my best friend once. As kids, we'd fish for catfish in the creek, build forts in the woods, and dream of lives bigger than our small town. But high school changed him. His dad left, his mom drank, and Caleb turned sharp, like a blade honed by pain. I didn't know how to help, and maybe that was my failing. By 16, he wasn't my friend anymore. He was my enemy. It started with taunts in the locker room, rumors spread to girls I liked. Then it got worse. Senior year, Caleb stole a poem I'd written for a national contest, one I'd poured my soul into. He submitted it as his own, and when he won, he didn't just take the prize money. He took my dream of being a writer, or so I thought. When I confronted him, his laugh cut deeper than any knife. "You're nothing, Ethan," he said. "You'll always be nothing." I left Willow Creek after graduation, went to college, became a teacher, and tried to bury the past. But Caleb's shadow clung to me. Every time I tried to write, his voice echoed, "You're nothing." I stopped writing altogether. When I returned to Willow Creek to teach, I built my life around avoiding him. He still lived in town, running a mechanic shop, and I'd cross the street to dodge his shadow. Hate is a quiet thing, but it's heavy. It weighed me down for years. It was a Tuesday in July, the kind of day where the heat made your shirt stick to your skin. I was at the school, arranging desks in my classroom for the fall, when Principal Hargrove called me to his office. "Ethan," he said, adjusting his glasses, "we've got a situation. Caleb Reed's boy, Tommy, is starting second grade here. I know you and Caleb have history, but I need you to take Tommy in your class." My stomach nodded. "Can't you put him with Mrs. Carter?" Hargrove sighed. "Her roster's full." "Look, I know it's not ideal, but Tommy's a good kid. Don't let your feelings about his dad cloud that." I wanted to argue, but Hargrove's look made me feel like I'd be letting the whole town down. So I nodded, jaw tight, and returned to my classroom, cursing Caleb under my breath. Teaching his son felt like a cruel twist of fate. When school started, Tommy Reed walked into my classroom, and I braced myself. He was small for 7, with shaggy brown hair and eyes too big for his face. He didn't look like Caleb, not at first. He was quiet, kept to himself, and always had a pencil in hand, sketching in a tattered notebook. I tried to treat him like any other kid, but every time I saw him, I saw Caleb smirk. It wasn't fair, but hate doesn't care about fair. A few weeks into the term, I noticed Tommy wasn't eating lunch. He'd sit at the cafeteria table, pushing his food around, then slip it into his backpack when he thought no one was watching. One day, I pulled him aside. "Tommy, you okay? You're not eating." He stared at the floor, scuffing his sneakers. "I'm fine, Mr. Hale." "Kid, I've been teaching long enough to know fine doesn't mean fine. What's going on?" He hesitated, then mumbled, "I save it for my mom. She gets hungry sometimes." My chest tightened. I knew Caleb's wife, Sarah, had been sick for years of cancer, the kind that lingers like an unwelcome guest. The town whispered about it, about how Caleb worked long hours at the shop to pay for her treatments, about how they were barely holding on. I hadn't let myself care. But looking at Tommy, clutching his backpack like it was all he had. Something cracked inside me. "All right," I said softly. "How about this? You eat your lunch here, and I'll make sure your mom gets something, okay?" His eyes widened. "You don't have to do that, Mr. Hale." "I know. But I'm gonna." That night, I stopped by the grocery store, bought a week's worth of food, and drove to the Reed's place, a rundown trailer on the edge of town. I hadn't seen Caleb face to face in years, and when he opened the door, I nearly dropped the bags. He looked older than 32, his face lined, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. He froze when he saw me. "Ethan," he said, like he wasn't sure I was real. "I'm here for Tommy," I said, keeping my voice steady. "He's been saving his lunch for Sarah. Figured you could use this." Caleb stared at the bags, then at me. For a moment, I thought he'd tell me to leave. Instead, he stepped aside. "Come in." Every instinct screamed to drop the groceries and go, but something, maybe Tommy's big eyes, maybe the slump of Caleb's shoulders, made me step inside. The trailer was small, cluttered but clean. Sarah was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her face pale but warm. She smiled when she saw me. "Ethan Hale. It's been a long time." "Yeah," I said, setting the bags on the counter. "Just dropping some stuff off for Tommy." She reached out a thin hand. "Thank you. He's a good boy." I nodded, avoiding Caleb's gaze. "I should go." "Ethan," Caleb said, his voice low. "Can we talk? Outside?" I wanted to say no, but Sarah's eyes were on us, and Tommy was in the next room. So I followed him to the porch, where the air buzzed with cicadas. Caleb leaned against the railing, lighting a cigarette. "I know you hate me," he said, exhaling smoke. "And you've got every right. What I did back then. I was a stupid kid, Ethan. I was angry, and you were an easy target. I'm sorry." I laughed, but it was bitter. "Sorry? You stole my work, Caleb. You made me feel like I was nothing. You don't get to just say sorry and make it go away." "I know," he said, his voice breaking. "I've carried it, too. You think I don't know what I did? You think I don't regret it every damn day? Then why?" I snapped. "Why'd you do it?" He took a long drag, staring at the ground. "My mom was drunk all the time. My dad was gone. I was failing school, and that contest, it was my way out. I didn't think about you. I just wanted to win, to be something. And when I saw your poem, I knew it was better than anything I could write. So I took it." I clenched my fists, the old anger roaring back. "You didn't just take a poem, Caleb. You took my voice." He nodded, like he was absorbing the blow. "I know. And I can't undo it. But I'm trying to be better. For Sarah. For Tommy." I wanted to hit him. I wanted to scream. But then I thought of Tommy, saving his lunch, and Sarah, smiling despite her pain. I thought of the hate I'd carried for 15 years, how it hadn't made me stronger, just smaller. "I don't forgive you," I said finally. "Not yet. But I'll keep bringing food for Tommy. And Sarah." Caleb looked at me, his eyes wet. "Thank you." Over the next few months, I kept my promise. I brought groceries every week, sometimes staying to talk with Sarah. She was sharp, funny, and never complained, even when chemo left her too weak to stand. Tommy started opening up in class, showing me his sketches, beautiful drawings of birds and trees. He had a gift, like I'd had once. I gave him art supplies, read him stories, and watched him bloom. Slowly, I saw less of Caleb in him and more of a boy who needed someone to believe in him. Caleb and I didn't talk much, but he'd nod when I dropped off the groceries, and I'd nod back. It wasn't friendship, but it was something. One evening, Sarah asked me to stay for dinner. I hesitated, but she insisted, and I found myself at their cramped table, eating spaghetti with Tommy and Sarah while Caleb watched me like he was waiting for me to run. After dinner, Tommy showed me his latest drawing, a willow tree by the creek, its branches kissing the water. "It's for you, Mr. Hale," he said shyly. I took the paper, my throat tight. "It's beautiful, Tommy. You're really talented." Sarah smiled. "He gets that from you, Ethan. The way you teach him, the way you care, it's making a difference." I glanced at Caleb, expecting him to bristle, but he just nodded. "She's right," he said quietly. "You're good for him." That night, driving home, I cried for the first time in years. Not because of Caleb, but because of Tommy, because of Sarah, because I'd spent so long hating someone that I'd forgotten how to love the people who mattered. Sarah died that spring. The funeral was small, just a handful of people at the town cemetery. Tommy clung to Caleb, his face buried in his dad's jacket. I stood at the back, feeling like an outsider, but Caleb caught my eye and nodded, like he wanted me there. After, he asked me to come by the trailer. I didn't know why, but I went. Inside, he handed me a box. "Sarah wanted you to have this," he said. I opened it and found a stack of letters, all in Sarah's handwriting, addressed to me. I looked at Caleb, confused. "She wrote them over the last few months," he said. "She knew she didn't have long. She wanted you to know what you meant to us." I took the box home and read the letters that night. Sarah wrote about her life, her love for Caleb and Tommy, her gratitude for the groceries, for the way I'd helped her son. But mostly, she wrote about forgiveness. "Hate is a burden, Ethan," she wrote in one letter. "It's not about letting Caleb off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. You have a gift, and you've let his mistake steal it. Don't let it steal your heart, too." I sat there, her words sinking in, and realized she was right. I'd let Caleb's betrayal define me, but it didn't have to. I could choose differently. I could forgive, not for him, but for me. The next fall, I started writing again. It was slow at first, just a few lines in a notebook, but it grew. I wrote about Willow Creek, about Tommy's drawings, about Sarah's letters. I wrote about pain and healing, about love growing in the cracks of a broken heart. My first story was published in a small literary magazine, and when I saw my name in print, I didn't hear Caleb's voice. I heard Sarah's. Caleb and I never became friends, but we found a kind of peace. He'd wave when I dropped off groceries, and I'd wave back. Tommy stayed in my class, and I watched him grow into a quiet, thoughtful boy, his sketchbook always in hand. I kept Sarah's letters on my desk, a reminder of what she taught me. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past, but about choosing to live beyond it. Years later, when Tommy was in high school, he won a national art contest. I was at the ceremony, clapping until my hands hurt. When he accepted his award, he looked out at the crowd and said, "This is for my mom. And for Mr. Hale, who believed in me." I cried again that night, but it wasn't just for Tommy or Sarah. It was for the boy I'd been, the one who thought he'd never be anything. I'd spent so long hating Caleb, but in the end, it was love for Tommy, for Sarah, for the life I'd built that set me free. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means choosing to carry something lighter than hate. And when I look back on that summer of '92, on the years that followed, I know why I forgave my biggest enemy, because it gave me back my heart.